Joe Rogan just dropped a bombshell about what's really going on in Los Angeles right now. And I'm going to show you how it all goes back to what you did on November the 5th. Rogan ain't buying it. He's recognizing that all of this is AstroTurf in LA, and he sees how regular Americans are being used as pawns in a much bigger game. This is going to absolutely blow you away. Greetings, everyone. It is live stream Monday night. Great to see you all here. Come on in, one and all. As always, I am your host, your humble host, Dr. Steve, your patriot professor. And as always, what we do on Monday nights, we are going to move our lively discussion of all things culture and politics over to our exclusive censorship-free virtual platform. There's so much to talk about. The world don't shut down, does it? So much going in the world. So if you want to join us over at our exclusive virtual platform for some sweet fellowship and awesome scholarly discussion, just scan that QR code or click on the link in the description below for a very small, there's that QR code. I love that. I love that QR code. For a very small, modest monthly fee, you can have access to our exclusive Q&As, our exclusive content, our exclusive conversations and meetups. You get access to all of our exclusive offers. So just scan that QR code or click the link below to become a member of our Courageous Patriots Club, where thousands of us gather each and every week to restore the pillars of faith, family, and freedom as we usher in a new conservative age. We will head on over there in mere moments. But first, as promised, the other day, Joe Rogan sat down with country music star Oliver Anthony. Good to see him back. Love his music. And Rogan dropped a truth bomb that exposes precisely what we're all seeing play out in LA and around the country. And in many respects, Joe is addressing questions that I'm sure many of you have had watching these riots. Have you ever wondered why these riots always seem so organized? Why everyone seems to have professional posters that they're flashing around? Why there are always mysterious pallets of bricks showing up in this case? Or why buses full of protesters arrive at the exact same time? Well, here is Joe Rogan connecting the dots.
Off today than anybody else in human history. And this is a struggle and it is a battle. But I think we can come out of this on the other side if we all realize that we're being played against each other. And that's where it's important. You know, when you're paying people to protest, you're leaving pallets of bricks around and you're organizing the whole thing and you're shipping people in on buses and you're making sure that all the people show up at a certain amount of time and they're all compensated and you give them water and snacks. Like, we got to realize what's going on here. This is not for you. When you light your city on fire and you burn cop cars, it's never good. It's not good for you. It's not good for the cause. They're not going to change the laws.
That's it. We are all being played against each other. We're all being played against each other. And I assure you, they're not going to change the laws. That's a very interesting point I want to bring up as we go along. Now, if you've been with this channel for a while, and if not, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button wherever it is. Yeah, there you go. There or there, wherever it is. But if you've been with this channel for a while, you will know what this is called, this political strategy of getting the masses to basically fight each other, to turn on each other. It's a blatant divide and conquer strategy. But put it in the chat if you know the kind of politics that's called. It's called resentment politics, right? Resentment politics. It's something that goes it's centuries old. It goes all the way back to the ancient world, where the state deliberately attempted to steer public resentment away from themselves, away from the politicians, onto others. So we have to remember that resentment is a very, very dangerous thing for the state, right? The state is comparatively small and the population is comparatively large. And so if resentment against the state festers among the population, I mean, just ask Marie Antoinette what can happen, or take a look at the Berlin Wall. I mean, states are very small and fragile, and mass public resentment is the state's greatest enemy. And so a successful political class is very skillful in the various ways it projects resentment away from themselves onto others. So this is why politicians are always blaming other people. They never blame themselves, but in many respects, it's a survival mechanism. right? Because if they did, then of course they would become the legitimate objects of resentment. So while historically, like in ancient Greece and Rome, the enemy, the one you projected the resentment onto, was always a foreigner. It was always somebody on the outside. So if you were in Athens, the enemy was Sparta. If you were in Rome, the enemy was Carthage. While the ancients always deflected resentment on foreign enemies, in the 1960s, the Democrats figured out that projecting resentment onto actually a segment of our society works even more to their advantage. So ever since then, the Democrats in particular and the DC establishment as a whole realize that wedge issues that divide Americans, are just as effective, if not more so, to deflect resentment away from themselves as is projecting resentment onto a foreign enemy. Now, what's so cool here with what we just heard is that Rogan recognizes this. He's recognizing this resentment politics, that everything we're seeing in LA is manufactured. This is not grassroots activism. This is astroturfing on a massive scale. This is an operation with funding, logistics, strategic planning. Someone or some people are literally organizing the destruction of American cities. I mean, I think about the infrastructure this requires, right? You need money to pay protesters. You need trucks to deliver pallets of bricks to strategic locations. You need buses to transport people. You need gas masks distributed among the rioters. You need coordination to ensure everyone arrives at the same time. You need supply chains for water and snacks. You need communication networks to manage it all. I mean, this is corporate level organization being used to create the illusion of organic civil rest. And Rogan nailed the most important point. When you light your city on fire and you burn cop cars, it's never good. It's not good for you. It's not good for the cause. They're not going to change the laws. And that's key. In other words, the only purpose of these riots is to create chaos, nothing more. Nothing is going to get changed in terms of the political structure. All they want to do is create chaos. And then the Democrats step in and basically say, it's all Trump's fault. Elect us and we'll end the chaos. So it's manufactured chaos for the sole purpose of getting ultimately Democrats elected. Now, the reason why I think what Rogan said there was so good is because it harkens back to what you did on November the 5th. By voting Trump, you brought Doge to D.C. And by bringing Doge to D.C., you brought the likes of people like Data Republican and a whole host of other techno-populists who blew the roof off of that city. They exposed the fact that organizations like USAID and all the democracy organizations were being used as nothing more than fronts for money laundering operations that funded literally hundreds of millions of dollars into far-left activist coffers. You did that. You blew the roof off that place. And the beauty of it is that once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so now we know the New York Post has identified at least 2 organizations behind these riots. We've been calling them out now for the last several days. So you have the Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights. They always have some stupid front name there. It purports itself to be a prominent Los Angeles-based immigration advocacy organization, when in point of fact, they're just raking in tens of millions of dollars in government grants, mostly from California, but yes, some from DC in the fiscal year ending June 2023. So our tax dollars, at least, well, if you're in California, a lot of your tax dollars, but at least some of our tax dollars are going to fund this. And then the second organization is the Party for Socialism, the PSL. the Party for Socialism and Liberation. They're described as a Marxist group with a history of organizing very aggressive protests, including anti-Israel demonstrations at Columbia University. And this is a group that's linked to the CCP through funding from socialist billionaire Neville Singham and his wife, Jody Evans. She's the founder of the radical left protest movement Code Pink. As I understand it, Pam Bondi in the Justice Department, Kash Patel in the FBI, they are investigating these guys as we speak. You also have the Walmart heiress. You probably heard about Christy Walton and her funding of the full-page color ads in the New York Times for that silly, pathetic, failed weekend, no King's Day protests. So I think this is all key here. We have mainstreamed our exposure of the Democrats as the party of resentment politics, using ultimately our tax dollars to fuel that resentment. Everyone now knows that when you see these pathetic protests, they are all AstroTurf. They're all bought and paid for to try to create social unrest that supposedly only the Democrats can rescue us from. And the beauty is no one is buying it. No one. More and more people recognize that the psychological warfare being conducted against the American people, it's not going to win. They recognize the goal is not justice. The goal is not reform. The goal is division, chaos, and destabilization. More and more people are recognizing that nefarious groups, left-wing Democrat groups with serious resources, are invested in turning Americans against each other. They're funding the violence, they're providing the weapons, and they're organizing the logistics. And then they sit back in the hope that they can watch us tear each other apart. But no one's buying it anymore. We all see it. Most especially the most popular podcaster on the planet. Over to you. We have so much to chat about. I want to hear what you have to say. So make sure you click on that link below, or you got to scan that beautiful, beautiful QR code and join our conservative, what do we call our courageous patriot club? We also call ourselves the Turley Troublemakers. And for a modest fee every month, you can ask me all the questions you want. I will read your comments for everyone to hear. It's just a great, great fellowship. And we just feel like we really are building civilization together. So with that, Josh, are there any questions I should answer before we move on? Oh, Marilyn Dragety, thank you. Is there any hope that the Carter Doctrine won't happen? Marilyn, MD, look at you. Okay, so what Maryland is talking about there is the Strait of Hormuz. Were Iran to close it, to shut it, because Iran and what is it? What is it? Oman? Why am I forgetting? What's the nation to the south? Oman. Iran and Oman. They have. Let me see. I think it's just going to drive me crazy. I don't. Oman, I knew it. Yeah. Ilhan Omar is a nut. All right, so Oman. So it's basically Israel and Oman more or less control the passageway of the Strait of Hormuz. It's very thin. 20-30% of daily oil going to the world goes through that on a daily basis. There is, because of after the Iranian Revolution and similar threats to shut it down, there back in 1979, 1980, there is something called the Carter Doctrine of 1980. And the Carter Doctrine basically says that if Iran or any foreign nation were to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, it would be considered a hostile act towards our national sovereignty, and that all means necessary could be used to restore its access. I think, certainly John Mearsheimer believes, the geopolitical strategist believes, This is Bibi Netanyahu's strategy here, nefarious strategy in that sense. This goes way beyond defending Israel from, supposed nuclear bombs in Iran and enrichment or whatever, wherever they move the goalposts. This is about getting Iran to shut down the Strait of Hormuz in retaliation, and thereby cause the United States to have to trigger the Carter Doctrine, which would get us involved in this fight. That's basically the geopolitical chessboard. I don't know. The only reason why I think it's not going to happen, although I guess they could make an exception, is because 80% of their crude oil is bought by China, and it comes through the Strait of Hormuz in its shipment. And I forget if that's 20 or 30% of China's oil supply. So that would upset China big time. No question about it. But it could happen. It could happen. I just think it'll be remote because you have to figure, Iran recognizes that they're only going to trigger their own massive defeat in a retaliation by the United States. I mean, they made that very clear. We are not allowing Strait of Hormuz. It's way too important for the world's oil supply. The United States is not going to allow it to be shut down, period, end of discussion. So I don't think they'll do it, but it is a possibility. I can't, remember my pledge to you is I'll never lie to you. It is a possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think, but it could. All right. With that, I think we're going to move on over. So make sure to click. Well, let me see one more. Can we get that QR code one more time? Where is it? Where's that beautiful QR code? There it is. Oh, there it is. Beautiful. Click on that QR code, or just take a snapshot of that QR code, or click on the link below at fight.turleytalks.com/Monday-Q&A. Join our Courageous Patriots Club for just, again, very small. I think it's like just a few cents a day. Come on in. The water is great, and you'll enjoy the amazing worldwide community of patriots who are all dedicated to restoring the pillars, the civilizational pillars of faith, family, and freedom. We got Josh. Is that good, or Ryan? I see you said there's some comments. Should we read a couple of the comments? All right, Bert. Dr. Steve, can you please try to explain the difference between branches of Islam, mainly the top two? All right. Very quickly, and I'm not an expert. I hope those of you who are of the Islamic faith, please correct me. But as I understand it, the Sunni faith, in many respects, is very much like the Protestant faith. It is me and Allah. I do not need any mediators between me and Allah, and any faithful Muslim, male Muslim, could become an imam, a teacher. There are no class differences in the Islamic structure. There's no college of cardinals. There are no bishops. There are no priests. It is me and Allah. It's basically the priesthood of all believers, as it were. And then the Shiite Islam, which is Iran, Hezbollah, and the Houthis in Yemen, they believe in a hierarchy. They believe in a clerical, structured hierarchy based, as I understand it, based on one's genetic lineage directly to Muhammad. So I see, and I've asked a Muslim, a practicing Muslim, if this was an okay analogy, and he agreed with it. He was Sunni, and he agreed with it. And I basically said, are they kind of like Catholics are to Protestants? They believe in extra Quranic books and the authority of extra Quranic traditions. They even add to the azan, the call to prayer, a bit here. God is great. There's no God but Allah, and on and on. So it's basically the difference between Catholic and Protestant. That's the way I interpret it in that sense. All right, with that, we are going to move on over there, guys. I love you. Make sure you come on over. And again, fight.turleytalks.com/Monday-QA. If this is your first time registering with us, let us know. We always give you preference. We'll put you front of the line. Comment that you have that you just want everyone to talk about and so forth. You'll see all the comments in the sidebar there. And any question you have, I'll be happy to answer. Or you could just scan that QR code. Join. Would love to have you. God bless, gang. Come on over.